Welcome, audience, and my god, we're finally doing a good comic. Unless this is our first comic book commentary that comes out because, well, Christmas, and we have to get it out in time for that.
Welcome to Batman Noel.
A Christmas
Noel.
Batman
stop
comic.
breaking the fourth wall.
So yeah,
Okay.
Batman Noel, one of the most critically acclaimed comic book stories ever.
Wait, Batman Noel. Did Noel Edmonds write this comic?
It's pronounced Noel.
Noel.
Oh, yeah, Noel. Yeah, of course I knew that.
So, of course, like any usual comic book commentary, except this time with Darkstar and Shiroi, let's talk about the cover.
I don't like it, honestly. If I have to be completely honest, I don't think it's terrible, but there's something that sets me off.
He looks constipated.
Batman looks hilarious.
Yeah, it's kind of. I know it's supposed to look serious, but I just can't take that face seriously.
Yeah.
Also, Dweebs. Weeping angels in the background.
Symbolism.
I hate those things.
What do you think, Pedro?
It looks fine, I guess.
So, without further ado, let's open the book, but we're gonna skip a few pages in because, well, it's some background stuff and a letter from the audience. Oh yeah, for my grandmother Alice B. Fletcher, who gave me my first Dickens novel, and my wife Jara, who gave me everything else.
So we're at page 009.
Mhm.
009,
And
yeah.
we open
And
with-
of course, there's already symbolism on a chimney with writing Noel with the Christmas decoration on it.
Christmas time.
So, let us
is
begin
here.
the narration.
Okay, you want me to tell you a story? I gotta be honest, I'm not so good at it. My dad, boy, he could spin a yarn. He could suck you right in from the beginning, like any good storyteller, and keep you stuck on your seat. Hook, line, and sinker. Yep, Dad was probably better at telling stories than anything else. Just ask my mom.
Yeah, because we really were stuck to our seats. Our bastard dad superglued us to it.
Page 11. Me, I'm better with hands. This story, it's a doozy. I remember Dad told me one Christmas. He was pretty sauced, and at first I thought he was making it up as he went along. But in the end, it made sense. Let me tell ya, some weird stuff happened in this story. You may find some it hard to swallow.
It's a Christmas Carol in Gotham City. What's the weirdest that could happen? And on to
First
page
thing, though, you gotta tell me something. Because for the story to make sense, for it to mean anything, you have to believe in something. Something very important.
Believe in fairies.
Page
Trump
13.
story.
Can my
Believe in the
be-
Twilight Fairies.
I believe in
Santa Christ.
Womp.
In school, our teachers would tell us that if we don't believe in fairies, our fairies would die.
You have to believe people can change.
And we
So
open
both
up to
Obama.
Oh, here we go.
Batman
Got it.
jumping on a rooftop.
Page 14. And I'm talking change in a positive way. Change for the better. I'm talking about the idea that a person can take years of programming and habit and turn them on their ass. That's when the deck is stacked against him. He can get the stones to overcome. It might be difficult for you to understand. You're just a kid. In life, as people get older, they get set in their ways. Most people never change. It's too scary, like staring off the edge of a cliff. Most people just can't make the leap.
Unless you're in
Of
the
course, Batman is
happening.
leaping in that path.
Yeah.
Some people want to change desperately, but the deck is stacked too high against them. Take Bob, for example. If he could, old Bob here would change almost everything about his life. This Bob, he's a stand-up kind of fellow. Trouble is, he's been down on his luck since, like, forever, and has a family to take care of. A sick little boy. His job, well, let's just say it ain't exactly the stuff of dreams.
He's working
And-
He's working for Obi-Wan in a baseball cap.
And we see on the newspaper that, surprise,
The
surprise,
Joker
the
has
Joker
escaped.
has escaped.
What a great shocking news.
Arkham
for us.
Asylum have the worst security ever.
Wait till we get to the Arkham Asylum games. Page
Page
16.
16. Dead-end job in a dead-end town.
More
And his
narration.
boss? Don't even get me started on that guy. The definition of cutthroat, a cruel abomination of a man who only cared about money. Gee, I wonder who he is. And nothing else. People whisper his name, almost afraid to say out loud. What the hell did he call himself? It's on the tip of my tongue.
Okay, how long is this narration going to be going on?
It's part of the
Wild.
theme,
Comic,
Dwebs.
Dwebs.
Remember, Dibs, rendition is a huge part of Christmas Carol.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Bob was desperate. The medical bills were stacking up, and with the economy in the toilet, getting work someplace else wasn't exactly an option. Who wrote that letter? A medic?
Oh, Smile. I think we know who did write that note. A certain jokester of sorts.
Even if it meant doing a job he didn't really like for a guy he liked even less. Man, I can't believe I don't remember this guy's name. It was like a sound effect or something. When Dan first told me, I just thought he was slurring.
On to page 18.
Oh yeah, that's right. The guy's name was Scrooge. What a name, huh? Anyway, like I said, this Scrooge guy didn't care about anyone. He didn't even want to give Bob Christmas off to spend with his kid.
Oh, that's not true. He cares about his number one dime.
Yeah.
Even they almost like letting him get away with a crime.
Speaking of crime...
Page 19. Let's talk for a second about this Scrooge dude. We don't know by now that he's a mean old bastard, but what we don't know is how cunning he can be. You don't get to be in the position Scrooge was in by being a dummy. It wasn't just that people were scared of him, and believe me, they were. It was that people trust him in, and he always being 5 steps ahead of the game. Once he saw what he wanted, there wasn't much that could stop him. And of course, parallels with Batman.
Page 20.
Bob didn't want to argue with the guy, but he had made a promise to his son that spent Christmas Day together. Scrooge, however, wouldn't budge about the time off. He had other plans. Christmas was just another day.
Yes, indeed.
Another day, another dollar. Sure, Bob needed money, but it wasn't the most important thing in his life. He may have been down on his luck, but ultimately his son was more important to him than anything else.
Please, don't. I can't. Don't hurt me.
You have one chance. You're going to tell me where he is. You won't lie if you want to walk out of here.
I don't. I mean, he
Tell me!
I just got a note. I've never been met with him. I swear. Oh Christ! I swear to God. All I was supposed to do was drop off the bag and pick up the money.
How was he going to contact you to pick up the money?
He was gonna send me another note with instructions. Look, please don't.
You won't be getting another note. He'll find out that you don't have his money and come to collect in spades.
Jesus, please, just...
Page 23.
Scum, you never cease to amaze me. Do you have any idea what was in that bag you delivered? You should be going to jail tonight. Consider yourself lucky that you make a better piece of live bait than jail bait.
Bob, being the good guy that he was, considering himself lucky for a guy down on his luck.
Yeah, as far as Batman encounters go, that's pretty lucky.
Yeah, it was pretty generous, honestly.
Yeah.
Page 24. Long story short, he managed to convince Scrooge to give him the day off, insurance issues or something. There was one condition. He will have to come to work at the crack of dawn the day after Christmas and be ready to work his ass off. Now, Bob may have been a bit of dumb luck from time to time, but stupid he was not. He knew that the miserable old Scrooge would make him pay for letting him get away with taking a holiday. See, old Scrooge was vindictive like that. No good deed goes unpunished and all that jack.
Before we go on to the next page, I have to say, I actually love how, they're setting up a good parallel between, Scrooge and his business and, Batman doing his usual thing. It's
Yeah,
a
so
rather
far it
clever...
does seem like a very good version of Batman's Christmas Carol.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about this. It's like, well, it can get you introduced to both Batman, but also introduced to Christmas Carol. And they don't really have to change much of either. Anywho.
Page 25. Bob was afraid of him, no doubt about that. It was a time he would have just quit. That was before the kid, though. He had responsibilities now, stuff you can't just run away from. Seemed like everyone and everything constantly reminded Bob how limited his options were. The
Real
fog
life
followed him like a dog tracking his scent, and the dog was big and scary.
Was it?
Ooh.
Page 26.
6.
Fear is a funny thing, though. Some guys can get so scared that they let that fear stop them in their tracks.
Crush!
It's like a thick wall keeping them from where they want to go. Our guys, well, they break through. They let the fear drive them, of course, Batman and everything. Scrooge was this kind of fella. Nothing and no one ever stopped him. He had forgotten what it was like to want. And the note says another joke to goes night or your head, whatever.
Yeah. It's the usual playboy comedian.
Our buddy Bob was the master of want. He
Now,
would
our
have
buddy
given
Bob was
almost
master of want.
anything
It would have.
to
Oh,
beat the
wait.
fearless type.
Darkstar.
Just trying to change it up a little.
Oh.
Whatever.
Never mind.
He wished he could have been a tough guy. Someone who took the bull by the horns and all that brass. The kind of man who makes things happen instead of waiting for him to fell in his lap. Big house, fancy car, you know what I'm talking about. Truth be told, Bob was never much of a winner. He lived in a crappy little ramshackle apartment in a crappier neighborhood. This one-bedroom shoebox had a broken toilet and bad heating, but it was a warm place. That was probably because of little Timmy.
Oh, yes, little Timmy.
Page 29. Tim had a bum leg. I'm not quite sure exactly what was wrong with him, but his health wasn't all that great. It was a big ray of sunshine, though. A real good kid. The kind of kid that make you... Well, let's just say it sucks he was so bad off. The Cratchit family, see, weren't the type to complain about their position in life. We didn't have much, but what they did have was appreciated. Dad! Love, you know.
Oh, jeez, oh, God. Oh, Jesus.
There was a lot of love there. Check it out. I made it myself. I had to take the plants from Mrs. Catrocci's pork, but it was dying anyway. And she said I could have it. And besides, it looked cooler than this, don't you think? See, I made the ornaments out of an old soup can and some pieces of beer bottle. Plus, I had that old army man. I just stuck some strings through his head so he
Tim, damn it! Not right now, okay?
Jesus.
Oh wow.
To be fair, considering the condition the guy's in, yeah.
Hey.
Page 31.
Hey, buddy, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to snap at you like that. Just a hell of a day, that's all. Come on over and show me that thing you got there.
It's not a thing. It's our Christmas tree, Dad.
Yeah, sure. I knew that. That's what I meant.
See, I found all this stuff out in the dumpster. I was trying to make it look like those ornaments you see in the stories on 5th. I thought it would be cool to drop the Superman emblem on the army man just because it didn't seem very Christmassy. And Superman is more like Santa, you know, with the red colors and all.
Aww.
Aww.
I also thought it would be cool to have a Batman thingy on there too, because Bob Mills has a Batman decoration on his tree that...
Now, why the hell would you want Batman on a Christmas tree?
I kind of agree with him. He's not very Christmas.
I mean, Batman isn't exactly
Yeah.
Christmassy either, you know. I mean, he could be scary dressed all in black.
There you go,
But I
Shiro.
thought Batman was one of the good guys. Bob Mills says he only hurts people that done something bad.
I mean, I guess. Maybe things ain't always that black and white. Sometimes even good people do bad things.
A lot of love in the Cratchit house, but not a love of anything else.
And on to page 33.
This Scrooge guy, on the other hand, he had everything. Big house, fancy cars, power. The guy had more money than he knew what to do with.
But
So
what does
most
he?
rich people.
But what does he really want, Shiroi? I think we'll find out soon.
His place
Oh,
was
doesn't he?
dark and damp, as dingy, dim, and empty as his heart, some might say. He liked it, though, that way. See, old Scrooge wasn't very good with people. He prefers solitude.
No, sir.
Hi, Jova, your coffee's back. He had spent most of his life completely obsessed with his work. There wasn't time for anyone else. Other people just seemed to be a nuisance.
May I hazard a guess and say you've caught something of a cold running around outside in this freezing night? Or would this just be too absurd an assumption?
I'm not sick, Alfred. It's just the change in temperature and the humidity of the cave.
Ah, yes, most certainly. It is, after all, impossible for the dark night to get the sniffles.
Okay, Shiroi, pro tip. Whenever you're getting a Batman comic, always look for Alfred's lines, because Alfred is quite possibly the master of deadpan snark.
Master Wayne,
Mm.
your disregard for the privacy of others aside, may I ask what...
This one is going to lead me to the Joker. Small fish, but sometimes it's all you need to catch a bigger one.
Small fish indeed. This one is a child. Do you honestly intend to put a risk at...
They all have children, Alfred. The father's just a criminal, degenerate bagman for the Joker, and not a very good one at that. Just left the money behind and ran. Cowardly, the lot of them. The clown isn't the type to let lost money go without coming back to settle his debts.
And just what do you intend to do? Wait for the madman to make a house call?
It's the most promising lead I've got in this war, Alfred. There are risks you must be willing to take. I take the same risk every time I let someone like this go.
And as a bonus, in the background there are references to other Batman stories.
I take the risk that he will raise his child to be exactly like him.
No
I
bat
take
nipples
the
or anything.
risk that in 10 years his boy will be walking the streets with colors and a gun in his belt. I risk the future, while they risk only the present.
I know only too well, Master Bruce. Lest you forget, there was another boy whose future was risked on my watch.
Okay, a bit of a backstory here. This comic, even though it's an Elseworld story, it's set in the time when in DC Comics time, where Batman just had Jason Todd, is the second boy who took the Robin mask. The problem with Jason Todd, he was a bit of an asshole, so DC kinda asked the
They had a
fans if they
vote.
wanted to axe him off or not. The fans answered yes, so Jason died tragically in a story, and Batman suffered because of this. This comic now is set a couple of days after the fact, and Batman has gone completely, bitter because of the fact.
I'll take
Yeah.
the liberty of bringing down some cold medication with your dinner.
Yep, work was all that mattered to Scrooge. His anger and loss had consumed him to the point where human contact was nearly impossible. I say loss because his life hadn't always been like this. He hadn't always been alone. Once had been a different man. He had shared his passion for work with a partner. He and his partner, well, they made a good team.
Indeed.
He was a younger man then. Life still seemed like it was full of hope. Hope for the future, hope for change. Anything seemed possible. Things like that, things that will appear ridiculous to old Scroogey, now are just roads yet to be taken, yet to be explored and conquered. Page 39. But that was then, and this was now. Now his partner was long gone, dead and buried for years. Oh, actually years. Just like Scrooge's youthful optimism, the younger man had been replaced by something harder and darker, something unforgiving and unmerciful. On this particular night, though, old Scrooge had a visitor. Now, some people say this thing he saw was a spirit of some sort. Others think it was just a figment of his imagination. Maybe even a little bit of his conscience playing tricks on his mind. I ain't one to believe in all that superstitious mumbo jumbo. I like to think that what he saw in the dark loneliness of that night was a vision. And this vision looked a hell of a lot his dead partner. A ghost from his past with a message for the future.
He's having an existential crisis.
Yes.
Actually, sure, Roy, this is tame to a lot of the stuff Batman tends to see.
He had come to deliver a warning that if Scrooge continued to live his life as an angry, vengeful, and spiteful man, he would pay a price. Every man's gotta pay up one day. Stand up and be counted for what is done in his life. The bad things you do become heavy weights. Jova. Scrooge
And
had to
really bad
change
coughs.
before it was too late. And yes, Shiroi, considering Batman tends to get injected with scarecrow toxin on a daily basis. Yeah, this is tame stuff. Anyway,
Okay.
page 41.
So he's drugged up then.
So who wants to do
I
Commissioner Gordon?
know, hang in there. I told you there would be some stuff that was hard to swallow. Take it how you want. The point is that whatever Scrooge saw gave him one more warning before disappearing. That night he would have 3 other visitors, ghosts, spirits, vision, whatever you want to call them. Point is, Scrooge didn't know who they were or what they would be. Only that apparently they would show him things that will change his life forever.
I was gonna keep you another 2 minutes before heading home, so cold I can't even light this thing.
Any new leads from the toxicology reports of the latest victims?
None that we haven't already explored in the past. See for yourself if you want. Got something else that might interest you, though. Anonymous tip. A certain cat burglar supposedly knocking off Sprang's auction house tonight.
Oh, boy.
You know, Christmas Eve auction, big haul.
Can't your men handle this? I've got too much on my plate tonight without getting caught up in cat and mouse with her. Or have you forgotten there's a homicidal maniac still on the loose out there?
She claims some information that might be useful, and you know she only talks to you. Figure's worth checking out.
Waste of time. She's only interested in playing games.
You really should get that cough checked out. Sounds like it's deep. But hey, I'm no doctor.
Of course.
Page 42. Scrooge thought about the vision he had the entire evening. He couldn't get it out of his head. He must have been crazy, he thought. It had all just been his imagination playing tricks on him or something, right? I mean, when you're alone in the dark, the slightest noise or a flicker of shadow across the wall can take strange shapes. Entire conversation with yourself, discussion you could swear were in your head, can echo through the halls of an empty house. Yes, his mind has just gotten away from him for a bit. The holidays, nostalgia, humbug. It wouldn't be a night like every other, he thought to himself. Christmas Eve or not.
Boy, is he in for some surprise.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, rest did not come easy that night. For the mean of old bugger, his mind drifted, thought of the past, unfinished business. The clock struck 1.
Bong.
Age 44, and just like that, his first visitor of the night appeared at his beside. It was a beautiful girl. How the hell did you get past the alarm system, he thought. How she can get away with anything.
Of course.
Okay, Shiroy, this is the good version. Basically, this is, of course, Selena Kyle. Basically, Selena Kyle varies, but overall, she's sort of the antithesis to Batman. More thief, but occasional do-gooder.
All right.
Anti-hero?
Yeah. When she's
I
done
guess you can
right.
say that. I could hear you breathing up there. Getting old. Or is it just the frosty night air?
Selena, I'm not in the mood.
But baby, I'm undeserved to put you in the mood. Come on, the only reason I get out of bed every day is you. I went shopping. Don't you want to see what I got? I'll show you mine. If you show me yours,
I will not play games with you tonight. You told Gordon you had information regarding the Joker. Where is he?
now that's more like it.
Of course,
Okay.
Selena has a turn-on for the Christian Bale voice.
Oh, honey, how else am I gonna get you to come out and play? A girl these days has to bend the truth a bit to get what she wants, especially when her man spends all his time thinking about someone else.
Ooh, waste of time.
Sassy bitch.
Should have known Gordon is a fool.
Wait, where are you going? I mean, don't you need to, like, arrest me or something?
If someone dies tonight, I'm holding you responsible. I'll make sure you go away for a long time.
Okay, listen to yourself. What happened to you? Was a time when nothing would have stopped you from catching me. Nothing you would have pursued me to the end, no matter what was thrown at you.
And now we get a look at, Golden Age stuff, obviously. You can tell by the way Catwoman is dressed, that's clear Golden Age.
We used to play, remember? It used to be different. You used to be different.
So yeah, starting to see the theme here. It was never for fun. Sick people like you think this is some sort of...
Sick people like me? Wait.
How dare you?
Okay. How dare you? You think I'm like those other clowns who run around trying to best you, trying to make a fool of you? I'm nothing like those other ghouls. I'm so much more.
Ugh, that's it!
I've gotta be so much more than this.
Wow, maybe you are getting old. I didn't mean to.
Selena, the only thing getting old is this game!
There was something about this girl, something familiar. She reminded me of a man he used to be. Sweeping him out into the night, she showed him people and places he pushed out of his mind long ago. With it came a rush of emotion he had long since forgotten. It was like smelling cotton candy or something, and remembering what it was like to ride the Ferris wheel at the county fair when you were a kid, remembering your heart pounding before that first kiss. His early life seemed so full of vigor, full of accomplishment and triumph. He beat into life with a hunger and need to be the best man he could be. These memories, these feelings, had he really been this person? And yes, so that's an actual reference to the old 60s Batman opening.
I like that because it's a good take on, the past stuff.
Page 50. He had approached life so differently then. Had he been so different?
Crick.
Young and naive, maybe. That's what the old geezer thought now. Life isn't really that colorful, not so full of infinite possibility, he told himself. For Scroogey, life was black and white. All business.
This
There
feels
was
like
success
yeah.
and fate.
Another cool thing about this is like, well, not only does this work, bridging between the past and the present, but this also feels like a good segue, showing why the Golden Age times were fun, but why, they obviously don't work nowadays. They're a bit
The silver,
too silly.
or the silver, yeah.
Yeah, gold.
With that
silver.
thought, the first visitor left the old geezer with his past. Trova? To think good he had about the and hard about his present. Pedro?
Need a hand? Looks like you could use one. Because
night
I'm
was far from-
Jesus.
The night was far from over, bro. See, Scrooge was still expecting two other visitors. The second was big, larger than life. Literally dressed colorfully too. Kind of ridiculous, Scrooge thought. It was the eyes that were the most troubling. Too deep and kind for a man with such an impressive physical presence.
Yes, take fashion. Yes, take fashion advice from the man dressed as a bat.
Yes.
Page 54.
I'm fine.
From the
Past
look
your
of you,
bedtime, aren't
that-
you?
Okay. From the looks of you, that makes two of us.
I don't think any superhero should ever give fashion advice, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
It's too cold to be out in your condition. Nasty cough you've got there. I heard you hacking all the way from Metropolis. Looks like pneumonia. Or possibly something more serious.
I I love the way you talk about that like you know what it means to have it. You Kryptonians get sick so often, right?
Oh my god, dude. I
Leave
hate
the-
when Batman gets like this, but whatever.
Leave the medical advice to the professionals. Isn't there someone to save, somewhere in the world tonight? Okay, yeah, I should probably address this. This is one of the better cases, but yeah, like Pedro said, a lot of stupid writers like to write Batman as this a-hole who practically hates it, when in reality, he views them as friends. I mean, if anything.
Well, I'm guessing they did it because this story kind of demands it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd say
he's-
that
It's still bad though.
bitter,
It doesn't
he's-
excuse it, but yeah.
No. Well, actually, I'd say it's done well in the context of this story, especially with it being Christmas. And, well, let's just say it's one of those cases where Batman's a bit extra grumpy. It's like,
But
if
I
he does
don't
it when
think
he's
you have
grumpy,
to-
then I can understand that. But him doing it as his standard speak is when I get annoyed.
Yeah, I don't think you have to change. Like, you shouldn't have to change a character to make a story work.
Of course not. That's bad. That's bad writing. No matter
Thank
what,
you.
no
Yep.
matter how you see it.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, you could say Bruce would say this when he's extra grumpy, but only because he's grumpy. So, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, you. Come on, don't be a pain about this. Just let me give you a lift to your car.
His hands were large and looked powerful, like they could crush Scrooge's frail body like a walnut shell. There
Okay,
was something familiar, an odd warmth, both from outside and within the giant of a man.
I get
Yeah.
the.
Well,
I
yeah,
love
that's
how
sort of the thing.
patronizing. I love how patronizing Superman is being. By the way,
One condition. I've got to stop to make first.
Once again, the old bugger flew out into the night with what could have been some sort of apparition and wonder if he was going crazy. See, this was all still too much like a dream to Scrooge. If it was a dream, though, then why did the heat he felt emanating from the big, colorful fellow seem so real?
why are we here?
Scrooge had never believed in ghosts, spirits, or anything of the like. He had never considered himself to be a superstitious guy.
I'm just checking on some bait. Wanted to see if the fish are biting. And
The dogs are barking.
the dog. Yeah, the dog's barking.
Mhm.
Isn't it bad form for a hunter to use parents or children as bait?
Justice comes at a price. This one is going to help me reel in the clown. He works for him.
No,
The dog
his-
hates you.
His feet had always been planted firmly on the ground. Superstition was a weakness of other guys, a weakness he could not afford.
And sooner or later, his employer is going to come to collect. Just a matter of time. And I'll have him.
Scrooge's mind didn't want to believe any of this. He knew that emotions couldn't be trusted. You know, he hasn't played David Cage. Despite being a bit shaken up by a memory of his past, he didn't want to lose sight of the person he'd become. And the kid drew a crappy Batman with the Merry Christmas, Dad.
Merry
Aw.
Christmas, Dad.
He fought hard to get where he was in life.
Hmm. If the father is involved, he could go to prison, or worse, he could.
Then we'll only decrease the surplus criminal population.
What are you going to do about the boy?
I'm going to scare him. Scare him so badly he doesn't dare ever follow in his father's footsteps.
You've got
Present
issues, you know that,
Scrooge.
right?
Yeah, the present Scrooge was not weak.
I don't think that's the way to go here, Bruce.
And that's a
Right.
wrap.
But the big, colorful fellow wasn't about to give up.
I think there might be a better way. Let's go. I need to show you something.
He knew there was still a chance for old Scroogey to see something he might have stopped looking for long ago.
Sometimes I realize that spending so much time above the world makes me forget that there are millions of people out there living their lives. Decent lives. I look down and see,
You look down on people.
fuck you. Not in the same way you do.
Pardon us,
Scrooge.
audience. Pager's a bit
Scroo-
grumpy.
Scrooge scoffed, "This better be something spectacular," he thought to himself with a sneer.
You look at your people. Take a second and look as hard at your lambs as you do your lions.
I need to.
Sometimes I think that helping people, saving people, can be just as easy as showing them your face. The face of someone exactly like them. Yes, someone who dresses like a bat and
He's the
fights
perfect person for that.
Somebody who dresses like a bat and basically goes.
But yeah,
free.
Superman actually has a point, despite all that
Yeah.
applying to fucking Batman of all people.
Showing them your face is easy when a bullet can bounce off it.
But the things the spirits show him were so real, downright ordinary. These weren't strange visions from the past, but flashes of the present, everyday life.
And page
Page
58.
58. There were even some familiar faces.
Hold up. Can't thank you and the missus enough for having me over tonight. Appreciate it, sir.
I'll replace waves, I guess. Can't have one of my bullies freezing his butt on off-duty Christmas Eve without a little cheer on his belly to keep him warm. Besides, seems like a quiet night out there, thank the Lord.
So far, so good. Although we did get some Batman sightings, I still don't know what to make of that guy. I mean, I know you trust him and all, but...
It's not an easy relationship to keep, but there isn't exactly a handbook on how to handle certain elements of your city.
I guess he's a necessary evil.
Make no mistake, he's no evil. No, I will say he walks a fine line. It's just that sometimes he steps on the side of that line where you or I might hesitate to tread. Play on the other side enough and you tend to lose sight of a line. His vision can be blurry sometimes, but I like to think him and the prescription he needs to see clearly. And meanwhile, Batman is losing his lungs or something. Anyway. But these people that Scrooge knew in his everyday life, this familiar face weren't as familiar behind closed doors.
Ever wonder what'll happen if he goes too far?
I wonder about that constantly.
Take me to my car. I need to get back to the cave.
He always considered himself a pillar of his community, an
Page are we on?
important man that people respected. It seemed
59
that
now.
others didn't necessarily share his opinion.
And on
Page
to page
59.
59.
Okay.
Some still had faith, though, along with the time-honored smile of folks who have the amazing ability to look on the bright side of things. Always look on the bright.
Side
of life.
Yeah. Scrooge, on the other hand, wondered how they always seemed so to fill a glass that was constantly empty. How did they manage to keep the faith? The universal hope for change and change for the better. It had been a long time since Scrooge had felt that kind of hope. He had pretty much resigned himself to the fact that life is a never-ending battle. The darkness of the world had forced him into shadows, and the only way to combat the monsters was to become one himself. And yes, if you look at the Batmobile, this design resembles kinda the one of Christopher Nolan movies, kinda.
With a bit of the traditional curve to it.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's a nice mix. Very steam. Page 60. But the second spirit didn't feel the same. He seemed to be a source of infinite hope, and he radiated that hope with every moment and word. His attitude was so foreign to Scrooge it made him suspicious. Whatever.
That was a legit
Okay.
cough, by the way. I wasn't mocking Gulpin.
Okay. Yep, you definitely need to see a doctor.
Thanks,
True.
Soups.
Too bad they don't make body armor for your insides.
You know, Christ, my brain must be playing tricks on me. I thought you said, too bad they don't make body armor for your nipples.
George
Dwibs,
Clooney.
what is it with you
Batman
thinking
and Robin
Dwibs,
reference?
Yeah.
what have you, Dwibs?
Like-
I know it's Black Friday, but have you been drinking too much?
I'm drinking now, actually.
Wait, it's
See,
There you go.
Dwibs!
What?
Oh, well,
You see,
of course.
Joe, not a
Joker,
bad
our
boy.
British Black Friday is a bit different to yours.
Yeah, and
See-
also I'm a bit of a thingy right now, so
Oh, great.
See, it's like this. Sometimes when you work in the dirt, it gets tough after a while to clean yourself off. You get used to the filth. You even start to feel comfortable in it. Then you wake up one day and wonder why everyone else thinks you're dirty.
Just lots of rest and fluids. In fact, I consider calling Alfred to come pick you up. You really shouldn't be driving.
Car's got autopilot.
Good night, Bruce. Feel better.
And yeah,
Aw.
so Superman, like a dick, it doesn't actually force him to get to a doctor or something. But I guess
It's
because
Batman. Do
it's
you really
kind.
think he would
And it's
actually
the dead
take
of night. Where's there going to be a doctor?
And in page 61, I need to just a clarification. No, Bruce is not crying; he's really sweating. And just like that, the big fella was gone. And
Tweet.
when Batman tries to open the Batmobile, he blows spectacularly on his face. Page 62.
And now we're about to meet the ghost of Christmas future.
Things were dark and quiet, and Scrooge wasn't sure if he was awake or sleeping. If he was still dreaming, maybe the old geezer will wake up to a brand new day. Then he remembered the night wasn't over quite yet. There will be free visitors. Free.
Oh boy.
And page 63 has an interesting take on the whole Ghost of Christmas future. Listen to this, Shiroi. You ever have that dream where you're falling and it really feels like you're falling, and when you wake up yourself, and when you can wake yourself up, you can still feel the gravity pulling you down?
Yes.
Ever wonder what happens if you can't make yourself up? Is that a dream telling you for remind you're dying for real? See, I got a theory about this third visitor. Page 64. The old man painted the guy out to be the scariest thing you ever laid eyes on. Black cloak, face always covered in shadow, blah, blah, blah. Now, Paul loved to take a bit of creative license with things. He had what Ma like to call a subjective relationship with the truth. He also loved to talk. Hell, he talked so much that all of the characters in his story blabbered as much as he did. What never sat right with me about this last part of the story was the fact that the last visitor never once spoke a word to Scrooge. Page 65. Call me cautious, but if it was me and some evil-looking cat shows up out of nowhere, points his finger at a creepy cemetery and I follow him inside, I have to be off my meds.
It seems like you're not on them anyway.
It's like those stupid kids in the horror movies who always open up the closed door to not look inside, like we're not expecting some chainsaw-wielding maniac to try and chop him in two.
Thank you! Thank you.
No thanks. He's gonna take one charming spirit of that with a silver tongue to convince me to follow into the grave, not some freaky faceless mute.
That's actually a pretty good point. Page
I wonder what
66.
Dickens was feeling when he wrote that part. Anyway, that's when I realized there was no third visitor. Some people start hallucinating when they're about to die. In my book, if you're chasing beautiful woman across rooftop and flying around with big colorful man that glow, something's rotten in Denmark. Let's face it, Scrooge wasn't exactly a spring chicken. Aside from the ears, we're talking about a guy with some serious anger management and stress issues. Even the heartless can have a heart attack, right? Something, not someone, came knocking that night. Old Scrooge was falling in his dream, and he wasn't waking up. Basically, he's implying he was having a heart attack and he was just hallucinating. And if you're wondering, the Joker, is actually burying him, Batman. It's a shout out to the whole Grant Morrison huge story arc of Batman Reap and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Anyway, 8. I think everybody wants to believe they remembered after they check you. I also think everybody likes to believe life can't go on without them, but that's just ain't the truth. No way to stop the future. You're too young to be thinking about this kind of stuff now, but trust me, most men want to leave the world a better place when they found out.
Jesus.
And
No.
yeah.
It was only... You're gonna kill me, man.
on the right.
Decreasing the surplus
No, I know.
criminal population.
Wait,
Scum.
will people never cease to amaze me?
Ah!
You want to feel like we made a reference, being somebody. Everybody wants to be a Cadillac.
Justice. Justice
comes
comes at a price.
War never changes.
Yeah. No one wants to be an old junker. Old Scrooge's life, he had probably thought he was the caddy. Great paint job, powerful engine, smooth ride. I think when all was said and done, when he came down to the 0 hour, old Scrooge knew that he would be remembered as the junker. You know, the one that used to break down on you all the time. You never forget what a pain in the neck it was. People don't remember that car when it was brand sparking new. They just remember having to jump start it every day. Scrooge had lived his life as a man who could turn on you any moment, leave you stranded on earth. He'd been on the type of man that people only feared. Fear that he'd break down on them again. And yes, all these panels are basically showing a war going on about two factions imitating Batman and the Joker, which ironically enough became an actual video game with Gotham City Imposters, which is a terrible game, by the way.
What game, sorry?
Gotham City Imposters is a free-to-play FPS, team FPS, I guess. Page 70.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of aiding and abetting a known criminal obstruction of justice.
I think as those clammy hands pushed down on Scrooge's chest, he thought about the future for the first time and realized the only legacy he would leave behind was pain. He will die, and his big, expensive stuff will be empty and cold.
Harboring a known fugitive, Maleficence, in office.
Actually, no, it's right down on the auction.
Alright, and here we have this fine painting by Sir Montgomery within 1874, titled Summer in Venice, valued at $70,000. We started the bidding at $40,000.
No friends left to care when he was gone. Oh, Dreams, you'll be this one since he's a judge.
I hereby sentence you to a term no less than 30 years to be served in Gotham State Penitentiary without the possibility of parole.
And
yes,
Commissioner
that was,
Gordon.
Commissioner Gordon basically is getting in jail.
Basically,
Anyone
Bruce died, and his
Commissioner
identity
Gordon
is
gets in jail for helping him. Yeah, that's nice. Anyone who had ever tried to get close to him was punished for it. Why should they care if he bit the dust? Why would it make any difference to them at all if they had no difference, if it made no difference to him in the end?
And do we have 40,000? Yes, wonderful. How about $42,000? Yes, $42,000 from the lovely lady from the first row. $45,000.
And we see Alfred getting basically his butt kicked from the mansion, seeing all the stuff getting sold out. No one to miss him or mourn him. They say you're born alone and you die alone. Even if that's true, would you want to be?
Here
and
lies a
Joba,
bat.
read the thing on the... Yeah.
Here lies a bat. He died boring, predictable, and nobody loved him.
How nice. Even the Joker pitied his Batman for his behavior.
Of course. And now on to page 72.
If you had the chance of to change, to get it right, would you fight for it? Sometimes it takes time to teach a fella how to live.
So they buried him in his Batman costume.
Well,
Yes.
it's Joker. Of course you would bury him as Batman. That's how he views him.
I think Reeves wasn't present for those pages. Anyway, in Scrooge's case, it took a real doozy of a night to make him realize this. You can call it a near-death experience. I call it a wake-up call. His clock was ticking, and if he was gonna get the message, he would need to listen up quick. See, with some guys, all you need is to whisper in their ears, "Santa, is that you?" Other guys, I know Scrooge was definitely one of the other guys.
And page 74.
Page 74, what a nice explanation.
Wow, that's frightening.
They need to be hit upside the head with a baseball bat. Wah, wah, wah. Page 75. That night, Scrooge got it and got it good.
I know. You were expecting the big guy in red. It's all the same, though. I have a bag of presents, too. What do you say, big guy? Want to know what I got here for you and your old man?
Not
I can't.
particularly.
I can't. Oh, Jesus, I can't. Oh, Christ.
Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. Ever play Clue? I love that game. Colonel Mustard. What a name. So, what say we play a little
Game. Aw.
Yeah, page 76. Daddy!
Yeah, get your old man out here. He should play too. We knows all about mysteries.
It wasn't just a new perspective on things.
I want him to solve the mystery of my missing moolah. Ha! Come on out, Bobby! This game sucks with just 2 people. What do you want, kiddo? Maybe I'll give the little guy here the lead pipe. He can be Miss Scarlet.
Ah! Don't you touch my son!
Come on, Bobby boy.
It was a second chance, a chance to make things right.
You know there's no baseball in Clue.
To be the good guy for once.
Page 77. Play fair! How are we going to solve the mystery of my missing money if you're missing half your face?
When my old man told me this story, he said with Scrooge he finally grew a conscience. Stop, mister, please! He didn't want the people around him to suffer because of mistakes he's made in his life.
Question.
Silva?
Who killed Bob?
Please, I bet it's the Batman was there.
I like to think there were larger forces at work, though. Page 78.
I win! I killed Bob in the kitchen with the revolver.
No, please, no.
I believe a man can change, but change is powerful. I gotta believe there's more of it when. Yeah. Page 79. It wasn't just the fear of dying, it was the hope he could have a better death. You gotta make the leap, take the chance, but you'll fail, but go down, try anyway. And for some reason, now that he's zooming in, Batman has red eyes. After a lifetime of hurting and bullying people, making people afraid of him, old Scrooge had the chance to make sure that when he finally did check out, when all was said and done, people remember that he had the chance to die the villain. But went out a hero.
You want it from me? You want it from my son? Now who's the grown up? Now who wants to play games?
Oh, Bobby boy. That's the way to do it.
Why don't I show you how to play? I will.
Yes! Yeah! Let her rip! No! You are not a criminal. Show your son the kind of man you are.
And somewhere Justin Gray and Jimmy Palmiotti thought this was a good excuse to start the Injustice Gods Among Us comic and story and video game. Fuck those guys. The kind of man we could respect without fear. Someone we could believe in.
Show him what a hero is.
Trouble is, realizing all this stuff only is the first step.
Boring. Neither of you know how to have a good time.
Your idea of a good time isn't exactly conventional.
If you wanna walk the walk, well, you know how the rest of it goes. And the rest of page 782 and the initial page 83 shows that, justice has been done without killing anyone. Gordon is happy and Batman can get his medication.
How did he get out? He was stuck in prison for 30 years.
That was the future, Dwibs. Well, the bad future anyway, but we got a good future.
Old Scroogey was lucky to wake up the next morning and he knew it. He felt like he'd just gotten out of a joint after a long stint, like a free man. There were people to see and things to do, promises to be made and kept. We made and kept.
Bruce looks so cute when he's actually, relaxing.
And just like an old con, he wanted to do it all on the first day. The first person on the list was Bob. And yes, we're bringing an entire huge Christmas tree. He figured it was only right. After all, he had always treated the poor guy like dirt. Today, though, he figured it was a time to pay him back. A raise, benefits, PTAO, 41K, the works.
401k.
And with this, Bruce Wayne is inadvertently revealing his identity.
Joy to the children far out there.
What page number are we on exactly?
85.
And now I'm 85.
Okay.
We're starting 85. Scrooge made the rounds that day. Old friends, business, associates, pretty much anyone whose life it previously made miserable. He wanted to show him, be the guy who could set things straight, the guy they could depend on. Most of them were shocked at this new Scrooge they were seeing. Like I told you at the beginning, change ain't exactly easy to believe in, but I guess it's easier to swallow than 3 ghosts.
Aww.
And page 86, almost closing in. The old man said he liked this story so much because it had a happy ending. He said in real life, happy endings are like unicorns. I asked him if he believed it was true, or if he thought it was just some yarn someone made up to get their kids to fall asleep. He told me it didn't really matter if it was true, it was what the story meant that was so important.
Oh.
Aww.
And, Dweebs, you finished the line on page 87.
I don't know, kiddo. What do you think? What's the moral of the story?
And thus our comic...
And you can see that Bob is working for Bruce Wayne. How nice.
Aww.
Oh.
I love it when Bruce is carried.
And the rest of the comic is just basically concept arts.
And a
from
bit
the
of and a bit of commentary on it. Maybe we'll look at that in another part, but for now, let's reflect on this beautiful story. Roy, since you're the newest one, how about you go first?
I liked it. It was a pretty unusual take on A Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
It worked surprisingly. I mean, according to you guys, nothing was really out of place character-wise.
Nope, it was pretty much in character.
I like the way it looks, and yeah, it was really good.
All right. Who should go next?
Me.
Dwebs.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I mean, yeah, I know it was just, Batman in a Christmas Carol form. But, they kept to the spirit of the original story very well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I've got to say.
Okay, Pedro, you next.
I don't really care much for this comic, honestly. It's fine, I guess. There's nothing particularly wrong with it. It's just that I don't really see the point of making Christmas Carol with DC characters. I don't really see the point of this. It's just a Christmas Carol, but with DC characters.
I do see the point, but
Find a way to tell Christmas stories one way or another.
I do see the point, but I'll bring that up when I get to my turn. Tio, you next.
I liked it. I mean, I usually love almost all Christmas Carol adaptation, so I'm a sucker for those. But this one works nicely and adds a bit of a twist to it here and there. What I really don't like is the art style. I don't know, the photorealistic looking people sometimes derives into Uncanny Valley for some reason, so I'm not a huge fan. But I guess it works for the context. I mean, there are still some panels that I really liked, where those where Superman went in, because they were drawn and colored in a very beautiful way. But other times they're very awkward to watch.
If I could add to that from me personally, that this kind of art style is something I'd expect from Batman.
Yeah, true. I guess I can see that being the case with Batman being one of the more down-to-earth heroes at times.
Given the feel of the character, this is the kind of art style I'd expect to see. But I understand where you're going.
And in any case, it's an Elseworld story, so even if someone doesn't like it, doesn't damage the continuity. So it's not a huge problem on that. Go ahead, Jova.
So yeah, pretty much like the majority of the group, I really like this comic. I mean, yeah, okay. At the heart of it, it's Christmas Carol done with DC characters. But what I like is how they put their own special spin on it with the DC characters. Like how they don't just blatantly say, "Oh, here are flashbacks." No, the way they tie it in and also sort of pay homage to the Golden Age for the past stuff, and then with Superman, of course, representing the one of the present with them flying around. And yeah, like Tio said, I love the color setup for when Superman's around. It doesn't break the subtlety of it, but it still is marvelous to look at. And the Joker being the Ghost of Christmas Future, I do like the special spin that they put on, it's impossible. The Ghost of Christmas Future couldn't have spoken a single word or just had Scrooge follow him along. It's literally him dragging him to it, which is a neat spin as well. It's like he's literally seeing his life flash before his eyes. And with Batman, he does tend to be a bit of a jerk, but then again, it's nothing that's too bad, mind you, that completely breaks the realm of the story, and in the end, he himself sees the light. So yeah, it's a treat for both DC fans and Christmas Carol fans, and I wholeheartedly recommend it.
I guess that's pretty much it. So, Merry Christmas to everyone. Living can be merry and everything.
And to all a good night.
Yeah,
Yes.
I guess that's it. Oh,
Thank
and
you,
God
Merry.
bless you or something.
God
Happy
bless us.
holidays.
God bless us,
Happy
everyone.
Hanukkah. Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
Happy holiday.
God bless us, everyone.
Joy
Yeah.
to the children.
See ya.